follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We're live in downtown Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Big show lined up today. I'm going to call it a 3-hour banger. How do you like that? Jeff Seeley on the program. Best bets at the BMW in 30 minutes. 1 week after Scotty Scheffler basically lapped the field. Mike Palm in studio. 3 burning questions in the NFL. Plus, you cannot be serious. In an hour and 15 minutes, professional bettor Paul Bovey is very strong, specifically on one team with a win total this year in the NFL. And he told us, Paulie, that he is going to give out information that the audience hasn't heard over and over and over again on this team. And he has 3 bets already on this team for the year. And you'll find those out in a couple of hours. I don't know about you, but every time this year it rolls around, we get into mid-August, season's right around the corner, I turn into a different kind of creature of habit. Now, honestly, when I wake up in the morning, let the dogs outside, do a couple of things. The first thing I do, like when I sit down at the computer or I grab the phone, Paulie, is I check to find out what the latest injury status is across the NFL. Because it just it spreads like wild. We forget about it, but here is yet another reminder about what actually happens at the beginning of the season and then throughout, when it will inevitably happen, where we're looking at like week 9 and we're going to say there are 10 quarterbacks in the league that I can't even believe are on rosters but are starting that week. And it's here the list now. Again, the Saints, and I have multiple bets on the Saints this year. You had the news about Tyson, 2 months. Olave, blue tent yesterday. Now Kamara, he's going to be a backup this year. Mm-hmm. He's out probably for a month. No sign for the Colts wide receiver Alec Pierce. Maybe he's ready for week 1. They need their wide receiver room stinks.
Yep.
And he's clearly their best option. But it's one right after another again.
And it's the same teams as the Chargers lose their center and the Texans lose another wide receiver. And it's big with Higgins out for the year. So they're very disappointing. And you're right, it's happening every single day now. Higgins
listed as the number 2 wide receiver for C.J. Stroud and the Texans. That is a big loss. Tightness for CMC and Mike Evans. What is new? What else could be happening there? Snap count early for Tucker Kraft, probably in the season. And the list goes on and on and on. And it just, from a betting standpoint, it speaks to when we've brought up friend of the show, Chris in Wichita before, who does this every single year. Specifically targeting to bet every under for wide receiver props across every single national book that he has access to. He has, I'm looking at it right now, he sent this to me a couple of weeks back. He has 94 bets this year already. Shopped around, got the best number. Sometimes he would find differences of 75-plus yards, but he gets the best number on every single option listed for a season-long wide receiver prop. Could be running back, could be tight end, but basically wide receivers, and he bets every single under. I think he's ever had a losing year. Most times he cleans house. He needs to go 49 and 45 this year to break even. But so many things, and you right, we're all doing like these vignettes right now that you hear during breaks about betting tips. One of your tips is you have to consider unders because so many things can go wrong.
That's right. Quarterback change, coach fired, OC change, all of it. Yep. All that can factor into it. I'm reading ESPN.com. 6 players you cannot ignore in fantasy drafts. Stribling, right there. All gas, no hesitation.
Good.
One of the biggest rookie revelations at the wide receiver position. Since stunning the league with a 4.3 40 at the Combine, he's surprised throughout the offseason. 6'2", 210. Tracks the deep ball with elegance.
With elegance.
I love that. Devours the cushion.
That's even better.
And is viewed as one of the most physical and competitive blocking receivers in this class. The Flying Hawaiian has settled into Santa Clara with ease, turning heads with his all-around talent and a big weapon for Shanahan's potent offense. The wide receiver coach, it's rare to get a guy that has everything, big, strong, physical, he can run. Let's go.
Wait a second here. The Flying Hawaiian, isn't that Shane Victorino? Doesn't he have to sign off on this like Jane Daniels at LSU?
I think it was the same moniker. That's right.
Yeah. There's also this, because more books. I love the rapid fire bets that you can have, the September special, so to speak, at Caesars. DK does it as well. I added a bunch more in pocket because I did a kind of a simple handicap last night. If you like Pro Football Focus, right? One of the things that they do is the fantasy football strength of schedule. And if you're a subscriber there, you go there and it breaks down all of their 17 regular season games. And then it's week by week. And it lists the difficulty from a 0 to a 10, the defenses that they're going to face. 10 being the easiest, by the way. So when I was looking at running backs and wide receivers last night, a couple of first 3 weeks of the season really popped to me. Again, they have it where the Chargers' first 3 weeks for running backs, again, from a 0 to 10, 10 being easiest. Week 1, 9.7. Week 2, 8.9. Week 3, 8.5. So I circled Amari and Hampton. And another guy that I looked at was David Montgomery. Because
Hampton?
Yeah.
You see that where McDaniel was asked a fantasy question?
You know what? He was asked the same thing about Achane in previous years about Miami, said the same thing, and Achane was always the number one guy with a bullet. But Houston's first 3 weeks, also extremely easy. So what I did is I bet David Montgomery at 28-1 for most rushing yards and 28-1 for most rushing touchdowns in September. And I have Hampton at 18-1 and 12-1 respectively. And then this one is going to be tough to swallow potentially because Jalen Hurts, oh boy, 3 more INTs today at practice. Horrible season last year throwing the football.
A lot of heat on him.
No question. We'll expand on that coming up in about 10 minutes. Yep. But based on what Paul Charchian broke down yesterday with Devontae Smith, he loves him this year. I played their week 1 schedule. Their opponent is Washington. That's a 10. Easiest passing defense in the entire league. Week 2, 8.6, and week 3, 4.4. I bet Devontae Smith 20-1. I added him to Stribling for most receiving yards in the first 3 games of the year.
Okay.
Fun stuff. Fun markets to bet into.
Charch recommended him yesterday as well. We got movement in the preseason. We have 2 games tomorrow. Houston not playing any starters. They also lost Mertz for the season. Mills had to come back into the last game, so they signed Rippon. They're on a 16-3 underrun in the preseason. Raiders favored. San Francisco now favored. They're laying 1.5 against the Chargers. They'll play the starters. And the Dog is on a 9-1 run last 10 in San Francisco games, and the Chargers 2-12 run straight up at home in that one. Although Rourke looked good, but Martinez was a disaster for San Francisco in the last game. Detroit up to 4.5. Even though he's on a 2-12 run, Campbell's going to play the starters against Washington, and we know Quinn hasn't cared ever.
No, he's been terrible.
It'd be horrible in the preseason, although they got the win. But Mariota out for the preseason.
Yep. For the live audience right now, those of you listening on radio, watching on YouTube TV, elsewhere, thank you, by the way. We appreciate it as always. We do have a baseball game starting in T-2 minutes, and it's a really good pitching matchup with Brandon Pfaadt taking on Peyton Tolley as the D-backs are in Boston against the Red Sox. So Pfaadt was a reliever in late April, all of May, and then sent down for a month. 9 starts since coming back from AAA on June 30th. He has allowed 0 or 1 run in 6 of those 9 starts, 0 earned in 4 straight. In those 9 starts, 54-plus innings pitched, 7 earned, that's it, with a 1.15 ERA. This has been ridiculous. And Tolley has been equally as good.
Yeah.
But I can't believe the Red Sox are laying this big of a number.
I know. He's 4-0 with a 2.21, and they won his last 7 starts. But what Pfaadt's done is incredible, and now the door's open because the Padres just lost a series and couldn't get the bats going here, lost 2 out of 3 to the Mets.
Yep.
As the Mets beat them 4-2. So I'm with you on the price and how great Pfaadt has been and trying to get to a game back of San Diego in a wild card.
Have you done a quick search at all on Ketel Marte for the Diamondbacks?
This is bizarre. He won't show up for anything. Doesn't show up to the game, or we're going to fly him back and get work. Look at his knee. Doesn't show up for that either.
I can't. When Mike Palm's going to expand on this, and you know what he normally does for You Cannot Be Serious. He spends hours looking into this stuff. So Marte traveled to Boston with the team. He was in the lineup the other night. And they didn't know where he was. They had no idea. And they had to adjust the last minute. They pushed it as long as they possibly could to get the lineup. I guess he's not going to be here. Didn't show up, called it a personal issue, and then multiple other things like excuses for it. This guy has a history of doing this.
Is it a Barrett Robbins situation?
Yes.
For Super Bowl, they found him in TJ?
Yeah, so he did this last year after the break in St. Louis.
Oh, no.
Same thing. How is this acceptable?
Yeah. Off the reservation.
Travels with the team. No show, not going to be there tonight. And the Phoenix media is having a field day with this guy. And they can't believe that he gets away with it.
Yeah, good timing.
But
incredible, right? With the pennant race as well. There's some good markets out there too. Will the team in the American League be under 500 and make the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
That's only yes plus 110. And then Will Hill and Caesars put up how many wins will the American League West winner have? And it's 83.5. Houston lost again.
Oh boy, I don't know if they're going to.
I don't know if they're going to get to 84. I know. I mean, we're supposed to make up some ground because you're playing the Angels and the A's, and you already started off with a loss. So I think that's a big ask for someone, and it's probably Houston, but for someone to get to 84 wins in that division.
So that means they have to finish 6 games over 500, yeah?
Yeah.
That seems like it's pretty far-fetched at this point.
Yeah.
And how? By the way, was that rock bottom for the Mariners last night? 22-0
I would
losers?
think so, right. It's the Jeff Sherman angle today. We'll see what you're made of if you have any pride.
Right.
But 20, that was the worst blowout shutout, worst loss since 1888? What happened? I put in a position player in. Rainbow, Authentics, and VSiN are taking the bets to the beach. Murray and Humans going to Hawaii for VSiN primetime from the islands Wednesday, August 26th. Special edition and a beach edition of the college football betting podcast, breaking down all the week 0 action. VSiN in Paradise, live from Hawaii, Wednesday the 26th, 7 p.m. Eastern, only on VSiN.
Love that they're going there again this season for that. It's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Up next, a lot of players have yet to deliver. They need to do it this year. It's teetering on now or never. We'll discuss who we trust and who we don't next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
I called last week a fairly decent performance out of Scotty Scheffler. Crushed the field. I was unaware of this, but our next guest, Jeff Seeley, said that a lot of books took it off the board, like the back nine.
Route.
When's the last time that happened on tour?
Yeah.
Tiger?
Yeah, probably.
And Seeley joins the program now. Follow him on X at Cupmaker Jeff. He's doing a Spaces tonight on X, talking about the tournament at Bellerive in St. Louis, and it's the BMW Championship. Hey, Jeff, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Great, guys. This is the last time the PGA was here. Brooks Koepka was winning golf tournaments.
Yeah. That's a while back as well. So I was looking up some stuff, knowing that you're coming on today on Scotty, and I just... Obviously, he didn't have a lot of winners this year. Last week, I think first time since January. But my God, top 5 in 12 out of his 18 events this year, including 5 of his last 6. That's absolutely crazy talk that we're in. He's down to 3-1. So are you, before we get into your board this week, are you looking at winner without Scotty or no?
Guys, rather than win without Scotty, I'm looking at a lot of the each way market bets, right? So you can, as we talked about before, you get, you win if they come in second, third, fourth, and so on, as well as the outright. So that's how I'm going to approach it versus the winner without.
Okay, there we go. And let's begin with the shortest shot that you're going to go with this week. It's not Scotty, obviously. It's not Rory, who could be ahead at 13-1 or even a little bit higher than that. It's not Xander. So who is it?
Yeah, guys, I'm going with Oberg. I mean, Oberg's like 20-1 or so. He's going to gain off the tee. That much is a given, which is definitely going to come into play here, right? The course is going to play really, really long. Oberg's found some form, back-to-back top 10s his last 2 events. But guys, what I really like about Oberg right now is his greens in regulation have been absolutely elite the last 3 events, and he hasn't really shown any weakness to his game. So if you can believe it, he hasn't won in 16 months with a guy as talented as Oberg. Seems like a long time. But if he can find any momentum with the putter this week, I like his chances. He's going to gain in greens and regulation on the field. He's going to gain off the tee. If he's finding the bottom of the cup, then I like Oberg a lot. My favorite way to play him, I mentioned each way market. I played him 14-1 in the each way market. And then I don't mind a little bit if you wanted to play him top to win outright at 20-1 as well.
Okay. How about in the 25-1 range, Fitzpatrick?
Yeah. So, we've been on Matt Fitzpatrick, who's gained on approach in an unbelievable 13 out of his last 14 events for the year. really equally impressive has been around the greens, where he's gained in 12 of his last 15 events as well. So even when he's missing the green, he's able to get up and down. He has 2 wins and 5 top 10s, which would put him in a really great spot this year. And when he's gaining off the tee, he did at the RBC and Valspar, he's a huge problem and is likely to win the tournament. So, it's really enough to make me take a really hard look at him. 18-1 in the each-way market is how I played Fitzpatrick. Again, guy I don't mind at 24-1 as well, but I just prefer having the actual execution of the each-way 8 places the way I played him.
Okay. Are you doing the same thing with Wyndham Clark, who's available at a pretty nice number this week?
Yeah, Wyndham Clark's 30-1. After struggling back-to-back events, he's really found his ball striking last week, both off the tee and on approach. So he's usually solid with the putter, and it showed up again when he was able to finish top 5 last week. So we don't have to look very far back, just 2 months, when Clark was the hottest player on tour with a win and 2 top 5s in 6 events. So in that stretch, he gained an average of 10 strokes and really didn't struggle in any trick. So I don't want to be late to the party when he's getting hot again. I like Clark. You can find him at 30-1, or you at 22-1 in the each way market with 8 places as well.
How about Cantlay, 30-1?
Yeah, guys. So Cantlay's put together a really solid run the last month. 4 top 10s and 4 more top 20 finishes his last 12 events. So like Fitzpatrick has been absolutely dialed in. He's gained an average of 6.5 strokes over his last 2 events. And if he can just gain off the tee and when to find a little bit of putting, I think he can be contention and finish top 10. So I played Cantlay top 10 plus 175 with a little on the out right there as well. And yeah, those are my primary guys in that 25 to 30 range.
Let me ask you this. What's the most insane stat here of these 2? We talked about this yesterday. 1, Vladimir Guerrero has not homered in Toronto at home in more than a calendar year now, believe it or not. Or I heard this earlier today on Money Moves, Patrick Cantlay has not won on the tour in 4 years.
Yeah, I mean it's you think about it. When was the last time Jordan Spieth won?
Oh, that's a great question. I would have no idea.
I mean, Justin Thomas, almost the same thing, right? A lot of these guys have really struggled, but I think Cantlay of that group has quietly put together some form. And I of any of those 3 I just mentioned, I like his chances the best.
Okay.
Is it 4 years ago?
For Spieth?
I think that's what popped up here.
Yeah, I'm seeing a 2022 RBC.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Boy, oh, boy. All right, how about a bomb? Michael Brennan, 50-60-1.
I love Michael Brennan. I mean, this is simply a bet on talent play, guys. I mean, he absolutely hammers his drive. And when his putter gets hot, like he did at Wyndham a few weeks ago, he is extremely live. So when he won the Wyndham, I guess we probably could have seen that coming, because his form coming in form was pretty good. But I'm gonna dust off last week and go back to the guy we saw at Wyndham. I played him to top 20, as you mentioned, Mitch, earlier. I played him at top plus 115 and ties pay full market. But yeah, he's a guy you're going to have to bomb it this week, and I like his chances as good as anybody north of 50-1.
Very good. Follow Jeff on X. He is at Cupmaker Jeff, and he's going to do a Twitter Spaces tonight or an X Spaces tonight with more on the BMW this week. Thanks, pal. Good luck this week. Okay.
Thanks, fellas. Take care.
Thank you.
He brought up Thomas. He actually won at the 2025 RBC, but his guy, Koepka, guess the last time that he won on tour? The PGA, I'm not
counting Live.
Not counting Live.
I will also say 2022.
2023. He won at Oak Hill.
Yeah.
In May of that year. Was it the PGA? His last standard PGA Tour event victory.
Tough.
Yeah, okay.
Tough, man.
That's wild, though. Cantlay has been that long. Spieth has been that long. Yeah.
The Twins just swept the Braves. How about that?
Is that over?
It is. 6-4. So now Texas is your final wild card, 2 games under, tied with the Twins. There's like 8 people at the game today, as they're so pissed at ownership.
Oh, it's just completely
The
embarrassing.
Blue Jays are a half game back. 7 of 10. They've been such a big disappointment. They're a half game back. Cleveland and Baltimore a game back. Detroit just lost. Now, after they were so hot and playing good ball, they got swept at home by Chicago and just lost 2 out of 3 to Pittsburgh. Jansen blew it in the 9th.
Yep.
So they're now a game and a half back in 5 games under 500.
I'm sitting there with a ticket at almost 8-1 on the Tigers to make the playoffs. and they were in the playoffs before last weekend when they started that series with the White Sox.
Yeah.
Now, as you said, they've lost 5 out of 6. And so that's 4 and 6 in their last 10 on top of that. And everything was rosy and looking great. Well, now they closed the month. They get 3 at Kansas City. They should do well, but who the hell knows? After that, 3 against Tampa, 3 against the Dodgers at home to close the month. I might be looking at a team that's going to be 6 out of the wild card come September.
Yeah.
Brutal stretch here for that team.
I would think Tampa can get to Max Scherzer today, though, coming up. That they get the offense going, as Scherzer's been bad, and Rasmussen's $2 in that game.
Well,
but it's a better price on the run line.
Yeah, Scherzer's season-long numbers are an abomination. Recently, he's been better. I know Rasmussen is great. Should they be more than $2 the way both teams are playing?
Yeah, I thought, it's fade of Scherzer. They're
I
13
don't know
and
about
6.
That. It's too high.
I think he's BP. Okay, 13 and 6, half a game back. 4th best ERA during that stretch. And a great turnaround with that tough schedule as they were playing all those American League East teams, what they were doing. Milwaukee's now number 1 in run differential, on pace for a plus 203 run differential. We'll see if Seattle has pride tonight.
I would think that they show up tonight.
Yeah, I don't know.
After getting completely embarrassed like that last night.
1888, that's how far you got to go back. Most runs in a shutout.
And once you know it, we snuck in the game that started at 1:10 Pacific time, 4:10 in Boston. Pfaadt going against Tolley tonight. Great pitching matchup. And Pfaadt has been absolutely brilliant. Leadoff home run for the Red Sox to begin the game. PCA style now.
Now, that's good. This is helping you out. So ESPN.com asked 20 players, who's the MVP? It was PCA and a runaway. And the numbers have moved as well on him. He got 15 votes. Ohtani got 4. 2 guys split it. Come on. Come on.
Pick a street.
But so it was a ton of players that went PCA over Ohtani. But that's the way I'll come back with Ohtani total bases over again, too. Going against Freeland, how he's so good at Coors Field. Another bomb last night. 2.5 total bases, I think, a good way to attack.
By the way, he's higher than 2-1 at some spots to hit a home run tonight. Probably worth it. By the way, I wonder if any voters for that award would prefer to actually talk to players or listen to players with their opinion. There is a cut making the rounds from Diana Rossini a couple years ago.
Okay.
For her votes, and she said she likes to talk to players for the MVP. Now, she changed her mind and eventually lied to Josh Allen and said she was going to vote for him. She didn't. But there's a lot there with her, too. She's probably the outlier to the entire situation. Paulie's going to run down Win Some, Lose Some coming up and Follow the Money at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board as we continue here Wednesdays with the Maestro. Mike Palm is the VP of Circa Las Vegas, the Golden Gate, and the D. It's time now for You Cannot Be Serious.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Yeah, how about some headlines? I missed that headlines part of this segment. So we'll start with where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Ketel Marte. After the D-backs concluded their series in Atlanta Sunday, the team traveled to Boston for a 3-game set with the Red Sox. The D-backs conspicuously held their lineup on Monday night until 15 minutes before first pitch, as 3-time All-Star second baseman Ketel Marte had not arrived at Fenway. He did not show up by first pitch, and the D-backs immediately placed him on the restricted list, meaning he cannot participate, but it's not an injury and he's not getting paid. After the game, D-backs skipper Torey Lovullo said Marte was away for the team, quote, dealing with a personal issue, and that he had attempted to communicate with Marte, but, quote, he didn't respond much. What does that mean? He didn't respond much. On Tuesday, complete flip of script. The team reported that Marte had gone back to Arizona to get an MRI on his knee. This seemed odd, as D-backs third baseman Nolan Arenado underwent an MRI that revealed intercostal injury on Monday in Boston. When questioned about why Marte had to return to Phoenix for his knee, but Arenado could get his injury looked at in Boston, Lovullo said, quote, that's not my department. Now today, Marte's agent, Charisse Espinoza-Dash, and for those scoring at home, that's Espinoza-Dash-Dash, Well, you like that, Mitch? Well, it's a hyphenated name with dashes. I'm sorry, I had it. Dash said, Kettle is currently managing a personal matter and will be undergoing an MRI on his knee tomorrow. Ketel appreciates the unwavering support from fans, teammates, the Diamondbacks organization, and Torey Lovullo during this time. He remains optimistic about his recovery and looks forward to returning to the field to contribute to the team's success as soon as possible. So it's good that the Diamondbacks PR department got the script to his agent today to cover both of the stories that they had told. I'd say give the guy a break if this had been the first. Oh, this is not the first time, not even the second time. Last year, during July, Marte missed multiple games when his house got broken into over the All-Star break. And this June, it was reported that there was trouble in the clubhouse and causing issues because of Marte's repeated absences, to which Lovullo reported Martell is a great clubhouse guy and there are no issues. How long are the Diamondbacks going to keep covering up for this guy? Arizona Diamondbacks!
You cannot be serious!
Now for something completely different. A league of their own. How many of you have been following the Women's Pro Baseball League? Not many, I would suggest, for all the hate I get for talking about the WNBA. But this is a league 2 years in the works, okay, Paul and Mitch? They have 4 teams, Boston, New York, LA, and San Francisco, and they began games in August. All games are played at Robin Roberts Stadium in Springfield, Illinois. So for the first year, it's 7 weeks of games. They play on every Wednesday and every Sunday, all right? Less than 2 weeks after the beginning of their inaugural season, the Boston Hunters fired their manager, former Red Sox stopper Keith Foulke, following a disastrous, listen to me, a disastrous 1-2 start, leaving them a game and a half back of the league leading at the time 3-1 Los Angeles Queens, who we suspect will play their games next year in West Hollywood. WPBL Commissioner Justine Siegel said of the firing, it was completely for baseball reasons. Foulke had a hard time relating to his team full of young players, and we thought someone else would be a better fit. But Foulke tells a much different story. He said that he negotiated with the CEO of the league that he would stay in Arizona during the season with his wife and children. His wife is 8 months pregnant. I had this deal completely worked out. But apparently, they didn't think to tell my assistant coaches or even my players. So everyone was shocked that I would fly back to Arizona after the games on Wednesday and Sunday nights. The commissioner said Foulke had lost control of the locker room, and the move had to be made. So who at this sudden time could replace Foulke? Well, they looked across the diamond to Queens assistant coach Jamil Weeks, former Major League Baseball player, who went from being the assistant coach of the Queens to now the head coach of the Hunters. Women's Pro Baseball League.
You cannot be serious!
And now for an even, maybe, an even more ludicrous story. Have you heard about, all right, the title is A Bridge Too Far. Have you heard about the Edmonton Marathon? Did you guys catch on to this story? How about this? 2 days, so Sunday was the races.
Don't tell me someone cheated.
No. 2 days after runners completed the Edmonton Marathon, the race director is apologizing after he says event officials discover an error in accounting for detours, and the races were actually too long. So if you were following this Sunday night and Monday, there were Olympians, there were amateur runners, there were these people that travel and said, we ran too long. That course was my time couldn't have been like that. It was too long. On Sunday night and Monday, all these Canadian officials absolutely denied it. Said there's no way, it was exactly, and so no. In a statement issued Tuesday afternoon, Director Tom Hughes said the distance of the half marathon and the marathon courses were exactly 675 meters longer than they had previously thought. The Edmonton Marathon's previous statement detailing confidence in the course certification process was issued with the best information we had at the time. The review has identified an error in how this year's detour-related course adjustments were calculated, and we sincerely apologize. The additional distance was added for the Wellington Bridge detour, which was partially offset with adjustment made to the course west end turnaround point. Upon review, it was determined that the turnaround point did not offset the addition of the detour. We own this error. We take full responsibility, and we're going to try to figure out how we can certify this result. How about they caught up with this guy, Calgary runner Mike Walsh, who spent a year training for the Edmonton Marathon in hope that he would have a time that would qualify him for the Granddaddy Mall, the Boston Marathon. He wanted 2:59 for the 40 to 44 men's age group. He actually ran exactly 2:59 in the actual race course distance, but did not qualify because of the extra difference. Edmonton Marathon!
You cannot be serious.
I don't know how you find some of this stuff, but man, it's incredible. I'm sure you. Yeah. People reached out.
How about Folk?
Oh boy.
Folk. They came out with all this statement. They said he was too hard on the girls. The girls wanted to play and know that their errors it's okay to make mistakes and they could still grow in the game. Our average age is 23. We needed someone who could relate. It had nothing to do with that at all. They didn't want him flying back and forth twice a week.
I got a lot here for you.
Okay, go.
So Walter, who flips the Lakers? Sells the Lakers, own them for less than a year. Sells his piece of Chelsea. What's going to happen with the Dodgers now? And this was Andrew Sorkin in 2012. I'm calling BS on this when he bought the Dodgers. It doesn't pass the smell test. When the numbers don't add up, it's worth asking some questions. He's using insurance money, which is typically supposed to be invested in simple, safe assets, to buy a baseball team, the ultimate toy. Seems like a lawsuit waiting to happen. Walter.
In 2012?
Yeah. Walter appears to be living out a childhood fantasy using other people's money, some of whom may not even realize it.
Do you know
This is from The Athletic the other day. Ohtani has a key man provision in his contract. He can opt out if Walter or Friedman leave the organization. He immediately becomes a free agent at the end of the season. 10 years, $700 million.
Before we address Ohtani, do you know which state is going to be devastated by this? Do you know which state he bilked out of all this money, where all of these policies were sold, that he turned around and took all these premiums and put it into his sports franchise? The state of Iowa.
Was it?
I had to look into this. Who regulates their insurance sales at the state level, not federally. So the statutes say that only 3% of dollars that they collect on these insurance and pensions and all this stuff that's in his financial can be spent on other enterprises. He's spending 80 cents out of every dollar he collected in Iowa on this flim-flam Madoff scheme. The state of Iowa is in big trouble. There's all this money they took that's supposed to be there to pay out insurance policies and pensions is invested in sports teams.
Oh, boy.
And they had to sell to get the money back if they have to pay off these policies. It was all this big Ponzi scheme.
So it's the definition.
It's unbelievable.
It's the definition of like a true white-collar crime, and people are already speculating that he's going to get off scot-free.
Yeah,
I don't know about that. It also go back. What did the NBA know?
What's he going to do? Go to jail in Fort Dodge in Iowa? I mean, it's a disaster. I don't know why Ohtani would want to leave.
No, he talked about it a couple days ago. He was asked, and he said, I'm not going to opt out.
He's in a perfect situation where he's at.
Got a baseball play for today?
Alcantara has been incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, over 18.5 outs is plus 114 tonight. In 4 of his last 5, he's gone over that. In 8 of his last 10, and in 10 of his last 14. He's pitching back to his Cy Young form, and he's pitching against a familiar opponent that he's been good against career-wise in the Phillies.
Good luck. New episode tonight. It's called The Collapse. Can't wait. 900 survivors, then 49. In a span of a single week, it goes down, and we reach the conclusion of Grandissimo. Almost 19 million on the line. Watch the next episode tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern on VSiN. All episodes are on YouTube right now. If you want to catch up, search VSiN Live. The Collapse tonight, and the Red Sox just blew it.
Yeah, 3-2 Diamondbacks right now. Fox still on the mound there in the bottom of the 5th at Fenway. Great job, Maestro. Thanks for rolling in here again today. Have a good week.
Thank you.
We'll get into door number 1, door number 2 up next, and I'm intrigued by this ticket involving NFL teams to finish last in their division this year. Find out what that ticket is next.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Thanks for checking in, watching the program as always on YouTube TV, listening Sirius XM channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our affiliates across the country. Big hour coming up. We'll get to tonight's Major League Baseball card. We'll get you our best bets at the back end of the show today. And right now we begin the hour by going out to the Progressive guest line and welcoming in professional sports bettor Paul Bovey to the program. Where in the world is Mr. Bovey today?
I'm in New York City, in Chelsea to be specific.
All right.
I just came from Saratoga. I had a nice Sunday, and all is good. So we're ready to roll with some NFL.
Very good. I love that. I think I'm going to make a trip to Saratoga next year for the first time, by the way.
Oh, awesome place.
Yeah.
You'll have a great time. Very festive town. Very opulent, so it'll fit you well. You'll have fun. You'll have fun for sure.
Let's get into your favorite win total at this point with the season now coming up in a few weeks of the NFL. Which team is it?
I mentioned this on the show when I was pounding the table on the Knicks back in June, and I'm sure you guys have covered it. And at the time, I leaned into the quarterback carousel of ineptitude of the Vikings this past year, and the fact that Brian Flores, Kevin O'Connell are back, and that they won 9 games last year despite this ineptitude. And it can only be better with Kyler Murray, who put up decent numbers 2 years ago.
So what have you done? Are we talking about 8.5 as a win total? Is that your standard play? Do you approach it from an win total standpoint? Tell us exactly why you love the team coming up with the season now rapidly approaching.
All right, so I'm over 8.5. I played them for the division. And I think in addition to looking at the obvious, which is Max Brosner, Carson Wentz, and J.J. McCarthy, look at the numbers that they put up. Beyond that, you look at the offensive line, which many do not focus in on. That offensive line did not take the field together until week 12 and only once thereafter. O'Neal in and out of the lineup, Darius Shaw in and out of the lineup. The only player that logged all 17 was Will Freeze. Henceforth, 60 sacks allowed, only second to your Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders, who gave up 64. Touchdown to interception ratio, 18 to 21. 18 touchdowns, 21 interceptions. That was the worst in the league. Even the Cleveland Browns were better with only 2 under 500. Yards per attempt, 4.9, fourth from the bottom. Yards per completion, 9.5, fourth from the bottom. So there's a lot of reasons why you would feel that that the Vikings offense is going to be better. And I think it will be prolific this year. They got Jennings from the 49ers to complement that receiving core. They got a running game. Jordan Mason, more than capable, running behind that offensive line, put up solid numbers. Not sure how much you're going to get out of Aaron Jones at this point. He is 31 years old, but he's still got something left in the tank. So there's a lot of reasons to feel that the Vikings could go over and should go over this 8.5.
I am with you on that. Oh, sorry. Continue. I thought
leaning into that, I think all 3 teams in this division have taken a step back, and that's part of my reasoning as well.
Okay. I also with you with the over, and to tie it in with the roster, we because there was no rapport or chemistry with McCarthy and Jefferson. I'm sure you're expecting big things out of Jefferson after he was ticked off how things went. He still somehow had 1,000 yards last year, but only had 2 touchdowns. So he could be in for a monster year.
It's a total miracle, Paulie, the fact that he went over 1,000 yards. Now, there's one thing I do want to point out with the Vikings. The only concern I have is a little bit on defense because they did lose several players, Hargrave, Allen, and Jonathan Greenard. And those 3 collectively 177 tackles and 10 sacks. So I think they're going to be better on offense, but they have some unproven players to replace those 3 on defense. And that would be my only concern. But as far as Jefferson goes, yeah, Jefferson entered the league first year, 1,400 yards, and every full season he's put up monster numbers, 1,500, 1,600. So, I played him over 1,150 yards, which to me is a no-brainer. That's 68 yards per game. When you bet these futures on running backs, on receivers, they're going to make it more often than not if they stay healthy. You're betting on the health of the player. You get 17 games out of them, you'll probably go over 65% of the time.
Yeah, and when Kyler Murray, by the way, falls in love with a number one target, and he's had some good ones in his career, man, does he pepper the daylights out of him? Look back at his history with stud wide receivers with Arizona. Professional bettor Paul Bovey, our guest, in love with the Minnesota Vikings this year, over 8.5 big. You've shown us the tickets. You're not fooling around, obviously, with those bets on this team. I would say one thing about the Vikings losing a couple of players on defense. No doubt you mentioned talented players no longer on the team. Haven't we reached the point of Brian Flores' career where we kind of trust him, though, to make up for those losses?
Exactly. If Brian Flores wasn't in the picture, I would be a lot more concerned than I am, because I think he'll make it work. He'll find a way to make it work. So I love the coaching. I love O'Connell. I love Brian Flores. And this year, Vikings 10, 11, could even win the division.
Okay. And you bet what? Over 5-1, obviously, in them to win that division?
Yeah. Okay. I took the 5-1. 5-1. Yeah. Not as much as I took on the win total. I mean, the win total I'm more comfortable with. One of these other three could come out of the clouds and win this thing. I don't see it. Honestly, I just think they've taken too much of a step back.
Okay.
And I could cover that at length.
Explain that then. And let's begin with a team that won it last year. Why do you think the Bears are going to take a step back?
All right. I'm sure you guys have touched on the turnover differential of plus 22. But if you go to that secondary and you look at Bayard, Brisker, and Wright, these guys total 266 tackles and 13 interceptions and 27 passes defended. And I don't think they did enough to replace them. They do have Stevenson at cornerback. He's pretty good. They did bring in Kobe Bryant. Not bad, but
he's also
not the
hurt.
Caliber. What's that?
Kobe Bryant's also hurt.
He's also hurt, but it's not the caliber of these players. Then you look at the receivers. Last year, the leading receiver was Loveland, 713 yards. And you give away G.J. Moore, okay, let him go. But now you're looking at, Luther on one side, and on the other side, Adunze. Now, Adunze, over the last 2 years, target to completions, he's at 50%. That's not good enough for me. I know Ben Johnson wants to score a lot of points, go up and down the field, but just because he wants to do it, I just don't think he has the horses to do it. That's just the way I'm looking at the Bears. I just think they're going to take a step back offensively, and I certainly think they're going to take a step back defensively.
Totally agree. And I mentioned the plus 22 turnover differential, 33 takeaways, and an NFL record wins when trailing the final 2 minutes of a game.
Yeah, it's these, as we know, these things tend to flip.
Yes.
They're very random in nature, and they caught up a bunch of breaks. Hey, they took me out of Survivor last year on Thanksgiving. I really got an axe to grind with the Bears, but that's my fault. But anyway, I just think Chicago's going to take that step back.
2 minutes here, then. Explain why you think Detroit, with the easiest schedule in the league, is also going to come back to the pack, even though they missed the playoffs.
I don't know if I can cover it in 2 minutes. The offensive line is in shambles. You lose Ragnow at center. Then you bring over somebody to replace him, Glasgow. Now you bring over Mays. Mays gets hurt. You're going to start Sewell, and you're going to start Juice Scruggs, and then you're going to start a first-round draft pick, a second-rounder from last year, and a sixth-rounder from 2024. Let's not forget that defense of last year. They went to a 5-game stretch. The Rams put up 500. Okay, it's the Rams. The Giants put up 500, and the Steelers put up 496. You got Kirby Joseph. He's hurt. Obviously, Terrion Arnold, we know all the problems. And we've got Amir Robinson's gone. He went to Washington. They've lost players that combined 38 passes defended. They've got guys hurt. I just don't see it. I just don't see why there's so much love for the Detroit Lions right now because, protection is going to be definitely a question. And that defense, I'm concerned. Aren't you concerned?
Okay, well, I don't have enough time to answer it here, but we'll continue on the next in the next segment here. So high on the Vikings, so far down on the Bears, down on the Lions. You're also going to be down on the Packers. I want to hear why. I want the audience to hear why with that. And you have a bet on the Vikings against those said Packers in Week 1. It's available, and I love it. I want to hear why you bet it. Coming up next here on VSiN.